You got a mailer for an Upstart loan, or perhaps you found them online. Regardless, you want to understand how Upstart works. A little fact about me is that I used to actually work at Upstart from 2012 to 2015, so I know a lot about Upstart and I want to share that with you in this review. Today, I'm going to cover with you how Upstart works. Is Upstart legitimate? How do you apply? What are the different APRs that you may run into, alternatives, and a whole lot of other things. And at the end of this video, you're going to have a very full understanding of whether Upstart may be the right option for you. Also, this video is just for information purposes, but let's get started. How Upstart works. So Upstart is basically a servicer, underwriter, and they help facilitate the loan for the bank. So you apply online with Upstart and they originate and underwrite the loan, and then they potentially sell that loan to a bank and could also help service the loan for that bank for the fee, potentially the origination fee and other fees as well. The second question I want you to consider is Upstart legitimate? And yes, Upstart is 100% legitimate. The company is publicly traded on the stock market under the ticket UPST, so it's quite regulated. In addition, the company has had 3 million plus customers, originated $47.5 billion in loans, and has worked with 100 plus banks. So yes, they are legitimate. The third thing I want you to consider is where do you apply? Now, Upstart is 100% online. So you can apply using the link below in the description. And when I was at Upstart, they actually did not take applications over the phone. I'm not sure if that's changed, but my understanding is that Upstart is still 100% online. The next question I want to talk to you about is how is Upstart's application different than other lenders? Now, Upstart uses additional scoring variables to help deem credit worthiness. For example, they may use your education as an underwriting variable in their model, and there may be other questions that they ask to help them deem whether they can provide a lower rate or a rate in general to you that other lenders may not provide. Fifth, I want to cover what are your alternatives. So it's important to understand that Upstart is one option, right? There are other lenders you can look at, but there's also other options you consider. And that is exactly why we created the best debt options calculator that I included a link in the description below that can help you kind of compare all these different options, loans, credit counseling, debt payoff planning, so that you get a holistic understanding of all the different options to make sure that if you do want a loan and you get an Upstart loan, that's the best option for you. The heart behind the tool is that we wanted to take the stress away from debt and put it on the shoulders of calculators to help you understand your options. You don't have to provide an email or phone number unless we can provide additional help, and it's 100% free. The sixth thing I want to talk to you about is how many people actually get approved at Upstart. Now, while it's not clear the percentage of people who get approved, Upstart does state that they do provide 43% higher approval than traditional models, which could mean a significant number of people are getting approved with Upstart rather than a different lender. And here's the thing with most of these providers, which I think is really cool, is that you can often check your rate and your credit score won't be affected because the lender does a soft credit pull when you check the rate. Now, they may do a hard credit pull when you actually take that loan, but in order to check your rate, often it's just a soft credit pull. So you could check your Upstart rate and see whether that rate will actually save you money or what kind of rate you get. And that's going to segue us into the next question is what is the APR on an Upstart loan? Now, on Upstart's website, it states that the APRs on the loans are between 7.99% and 35.99%. Now, remember, APRs are the interest rate plus any additional fees charged by the lender. So it's often deemed more important than just the interest rate. That means that the APR could include the origination fee. Now, for those of you who don't know, an origination fee is the fee that is charged to originate the loan. Now, I'll get into more details about what that fee could be, but it's usually taken out before you receive the funds. So if you, let's say you get a $10,000 loan and it's a 5% origination fee, you would get $9,500 in your bank, but it would be paying off the debt as if it's a $10,000 loan. Again, I'll explain a little bit more later, but hopefully that's helpful. The next thing I want to talk to you about is pros and cons of Upstart loans. The first pro may be that Upstart states they have 43% higher approvals than traditional models, which can be great if you've been searching far and wide for a loan and you haven't been able to qualify elsewhere. Secondly, in the same vein, Upstart states that they provide 33% lower APRs, which is fantastic if you're looking to get that better rate. Third, if you don't like talking to people, Upstart claims that 92% of their loans are fully automated, which is incredible, meaning that you don't have to get on the phone and talk to someone that you don't want to a lot of the time. Fourth, when you get an Upstart loan, there are no prepayment penalties. So if you pay that loan back faster, that can mean that you get out of that debt faster. Fifth, and I think this is really important, is that you get a fixed rate and a fixed term, which is great if you're consulting high interest credit card debt, and it can really provide a light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas if you're just just paying minimum payments for the rest of your life, then that can be quite distressing. Now, let's talk about the cons. And I've seen this so often, right? When you take a larger dollar loan and then you don't use all of those funds to pay off the credit cards, maybe you have an emergency, maybe you want to do a vacation or something. This generally means that your total monthly payment could increase overall. Now, this can produce financial hardship later on, and you know yourself best. So if this is you, you may consider taking that best debt options calculator below to consider all your options before taking on debt to pay off debt. Second, the application process may be slightly longer than a traditional creditor if you have to confirm your education or if there's other variables at play that will help you underwrite you for a lower rate. Third, origination fees can help originate a loan, and it's a one-time fee that's removed from the proceeds. Now, Upstart mentioned that the typical origination fee is between 1% and 8%, but some sources online share that it can be up to 12%. Now, please note that this fee is often non-refundable, and it's important to note, especially if you end up paying that loan back in a week, that can be a very expensive loan. Finally, the last question is, should you get an Upstart loan? And ultimately, it's your decision whether to apply or take out an Upstart loan. You can apply for an Upstart loan or check your rate in the link in the description below. And you can also consider taking the best debt options calculator to compare a loan to other options so you can make sure you understand all your options before you're taking on additional debt to pay off debt. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.